been doing a lot of stuff. It's been really nice because I'm off. So I went to the library this morning and I spent a couple hours there. I was reading Assistant to a Villain, and I am making such great progress. I feel like I finally reached a point in the book that I want to devour it, even though honestly, and this makes me sad because I was looking forward to this book for a really long time and I feel like I was very excited about it. But the book didn't actually catch me, like get me sucked in until I had less than 100 pages left. So that's kind of sad, but also I am enjoying what's happening. The rest of the book felt kind of flat for me, which is weird because I typically don't feel that way about books, and if I do, I DNF them. But this book kept me interested enough to finish it, but it didn't actually give me all the feels until very much into a book. I am going to read the next one. I think it's Apprentice to the Villain. And I'm very excited because I pre-ordered it, so I should be getting it in the mail in the next couple of weeks that it comes out. But I'm also super excited because tomorrow I get my copy of The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the book that comes after Brothers Hawthorne. It's the same world as the Inheritance Games, but it's not part of the main trilogy. There are 2 additional side stories. I am so freaking excited. I think Brothers Hawthorne and The Grandest Game are a duology within the same world and the same characters. So I'm very excited for that. I can't wait for tomorrow. I do have to work though, which is sad. But I think I don't have a long shift, so that will be good because when I get my book, I can come home and start it immediately. So I'm also not really rushing, but also kind of want to get Assistant to a Villain out of the way so that I can focus on The Grandest Game tomorrow. I'm so excited for that. Also, as I was saying, I went to the library earlier today and I spent a couple hours there. Obviously, I came back home with a stack of books. I had to do some math and figure out how many I had at home to see how many I could check out because, oh my gosh, today was one of those days that I just wanted to bring every single book home with me, even though I know I'm not going to read them immediately. But I just wanted them all. So I had to contain myself and grab just a few. So here's my stack. This book is mine. You already know that I started reading this. I think I mentioned it at some point, but if not, I am reading Diary of a Confused Feminist with one of my friends. We are body reading it. I don't even know how to say that. And it's been really entertaining. The thing is that the way that we're reading this book is we actually sit down together and we read out loud to each other. Which, what ends up happening that because of the stuff happening in this book and because we both have ADHD, every single little paragraph that we read triggers a thought, an idea, a memory or something. So what ends up happening is that we end up discussing those things, which it's kind of the point of doing the book club together and body reading so we can have cool discussions about the books. But I feel like we've done more discussing than actual reading. So sadly, she is moving to a different town away from me. And I'm so sad she's actually moving today. But we're going to keep in touch and we're going to be reading this through Discord. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, you've already probably seen this. If not, that's what's going on with this book. You have already seen these 2 because I already showed them in a previous video, I believe. I think in my writing video, my first episode for my writing diaries. So these were from my last time at the library. And I think I have 2 more. I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I think I talked about in another video. And I also have another book in Spanish that is like a romance. I don't know, it's somewhere in my sofa in my living room. So I don't know. So here's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So that I brought it with me to read at the library, but I didn't finish Assistant to the Villain as quickly as I thought. So I haven't touched that one today. But I have been making progress. I have been reading it. Now, for the stack of books that I got today, which some of them are just random. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books today. So here is the stack. Let me show you what they are. Book number 1 is called This Is Not a Writing Manual for Notes for the Young Writer in the Real World. It caught my attention. I love this cover and it's about writing. So since I am in my writing era again, I figured I would get more books on writing. Not like I don't have 2 more there, and I still have not touched the one that says Leap Right In. I haven't touched this one. I should probably do it. I should record another video today diving into that book. But yeah, I got this one that is on writing. I got Seek, How Curiosity Can Transform Your Life and Change the World, which is something that I just felt curious about. That is why I got it. Because I've been working on a different project, and one of the topics in that project is curiosity. So I figured, why not read a book on curiosity and talk about it in that other project? And you're gonna see what the project is very soon. The next book is called How to Read Like a Writer, which, as someone who reads over 100 books every year, or almost every year in the last couple of years, this feels like something I should be doing now that I'm in my writer era or whatever. So I haven't really gone through the entire thing, but the book talks about genres, plot, conflict, theme, and image, developing characters, narrators, and point of view, scenes and setting, structure and form, social media and digital platforms, language, subtext, style, etc., etc., etc. So I feel like it's gonna be very useful and very fun, and it's a thin book, so hopefully I'll get through it. I won't just return it. I also got Mujeres de Sal by Gabriela Garcia, which I just got because I want to continue the habit of having fiction books in Spanish. So I got this one. Do I know what it is about? No. Have I seen this cover around in social media a lot in the English version of it? Yes. So that is why I got that one. I'm probably gonna get to it eventually. Then I got Build Like a Woman, the blueprint for creating a business in life you love. And I think this is just a theme that's very present in my life all the time. I'm always grabbing business books and then I don't read them. And I don't know why I don't read them, because I want to be a business owner eventually. So, but I guess I just feel kind of intimidated. But yeah, I brought another one. Hopefully this time I will read it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. And then, to talk about the project that I've been working on, I got Podcasting for Dummies, which I find hilarious because all these books that are for dummies, I find them so funny, but I feel like there has to be important information in here. So yes, I am going to attempt to do a podcast again. So that's where we're at. This is my stack of books from the library, my new stack of books that I'm going to combine with the other one. And my goal right now is to finish Assistant to the Villain. I was going to finish the book, and I'm still planning on it. It's been a couple hours, but I ended up falling asleep. So I took a fat nap, and now I am back sitting on my desk with the book. Let me get it out of my purse. I am currently on page 288 out of 340 something, I think. $340. So 288 out of 340. I'm so close to finishing this book. I don't know why it has taken me so freaking long. I just need to focus and stop falling asleep. And it's not because I'm bored. It just happens. So as soon as that happens, as soon as I finish this freaking book, I will obviously start another one. Not like I'm not reading already other ones, but I do want to start another book from my own TBR. And yes, tomorrow I'm still getting that other book. Maybe I shouldn't start another book. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't touch my TBR right now so that I can focus on the new book that's coming in. Or maybe I should give a pause to that other book and read the other books that I had been waiting for and that I had pre-ordered and got because they obviously released already and I haven't finished. So maybe that's another thing that I should probably do. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for me. But current focus is finish this damn book. So I'm going to put a game on the background, kind of on the background, to kind of try and keep my brain occupied enough so that I can focus on the book, because that happens all the time. I have such a hyperactive brain that I can't focus on a single task. I have to be doing other stuff. And especially when I'm doing passive stuff like reading, I need to do something else. That's why audiobooks work so well for me. But I do like the experience of annotating and just holding the book in my hands. So I'm going to open up a game that I got recently. It was free. And I'm going to play as I read. Also because that game has a lot of wait time between stuff, because it's one of those city builder games. So there's a lot of wait time to be able to do things. So reading is a great way for me to wait while the game does its thing. So my iPad, gotta get it out of the way, because I was using it. I took it with me to the library and then I didn't end up using it. I ended up only charging it at the library because I was focused on reading the book. So I shall do this now. I need to stop talking. I need to stop talking and read. So I'll be back soon. I've reached page 305 and now things got interesting. Oh my gosh, I am internally screaming right now because the story took a turn that I was not expecting, but I am glad it ended up happening the way it did. I'm not going to mention spoilers, but holy, oh my goodness. I am going now to devour the rest that I have of this book. Like, whatever 30 something pages that I have left, I'm going to devour it because I need to know what's gonna happen. I took a break to shower and wash my hair so that I can blow dry it. And I also had some dinner and I've been reading ever since. I am now in page 329, so I'm starting chapter 58. And oh my gosh, all the stuff that has been revealed. It's like the book was flatline for me and then it went poof. It's been amazing. I feel like those last 100 pages have been the best part of the book. Now that I know the majority of the stuff and like the truth of many things have come out, I am really hoping that the book does end with a bang, because I feel like that's going to determine a lot how I'm going to rate it. If a book doesn't leave me feeling something, I end up rating it low. Of course, I do take into consideration how I felt throughout the book, so I already know this is not going to be a 5-star because I didn't feel excited about it the entire time. It took me a really long time to read this book, so it wouldn't make sense for me to rate it 5 stars. But it could be a 4 if the ending is good. I have heard that it ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm so glad that I've taken my time with it, just because I know the next book is gonna come out, I think this month, like August. Well, it's July 31st, so I guess next month that starts tomorrow type of vibe. But yeah, I really hope it ends on a good note and that I can rate it 4 stars. It's still not reaching that point, so we'll see what happens. I'll be back with an update soon. Something just happened in the book and I am upset. I can already see where this cliffhanger is going, and I am not prepared for this BS. But the book is picking up. It is redeeming itself, and I am happy about that. But this King Benedict person, we don't like him. We really don't like him. This guy, he is pushing my buttons, and I am upset. But that's how you know a book is good. I'm glad this is happening because I was scared that I was gonna be disappointed. Like I said, let's see how this goes. But things are happening that I was not expecting. I just finished the book and that was an ending. Oh my gosh. I am absolutely speechless, but I am fangirling on the inside right now. Okay, now that I finally finished Assistant to the Villain, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the book. This may or may not contain spoilers, and I may or may not remember things incorrectly because I typically don't remember in detail the books that I read. But I started reading this, as I mentioned, I think before, in October of 2023, maybe. So it's been what, like 9 months since I started reading it. It took me 9 freaking months to finish this book that is 340 pages long. And that was insane. And I had to push through the first 200 pages of the book because it just felt so flat. I felt like there was a lot of random things happening, but I couldn't see the actual purpose. I couldn't see the problem. I knew the villain was having issues, and I knew he had animosity with the king, and they were doing all these silly, random stuff. But the turn that the freaking book took, I think, last 40 pages or something. The book took a freaking turn for the darkest shit that I was not expecting. Like, this book is both humor and action, and there's some romance, but it's a slow burn. And the way the last 40 pages of the book just bam, 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 like it threw everything at you. I really thought that I was going to be disappointed by the book because of the beginning of the book being so uneventful. I don't know if it was that I was zoning out throughout the book, or if the way that things were described did not catch me. But obviously there were attempts at killing the villain, and there were situations where the villain was doing very questionable things. And of course there was the thing with the beast and all that stuff. And yes, it had a good balance between humor and action, but I felt like all of the stuff that happened in the book had potential to be more impactful. It was like the way that things were presented was not as impactful as they could have been. So it kind of made me a bit bored. Now, when those last 40 pages hit, that's when things started happening. Like, I've been reading those last, I think, 100 pages today. And it wasn't until that last chunk that I really started to devour the book. I feel like the first chunk that I was reading today, I was forcing myself through it because I knew I wanted to finish it and I didn't have much left. But then it started feeling like, okay, I need to know more, which is sad because I feel like I would have loved for the book to be from the very beginning. I want to know more about it. And what I can say about the beginning, though, is that it was very easy to get into. I don't typically have a great time with books when it comes to like fantasy stuff, because the world building becomes very complicated, and if I don't understand and I don't feel like I'm immersed in the world in the first couple pages, it makes it really hard for me to understand the book. I've had books that I've had to restart over and over and over, and I haven't been able to get through. One example of that is The Prior of the Orange Tree. That book has been so complicated. I've tried to listen to it a couple of times. I don't think I've tried reading that book in any other format outside of audiobook, but it's been so difficult. Another book that I had a similar issue with, it was another fantasy. I don't remember the title, but it was another book that I started it, and that one I did try both physical and audiobook, and I couldn't get into it. Like, I couldn't tell what the heck was happening. And it's sad because I've heard it's a really good book, but it was so difficult. So the fact that this book, I was able to get into it really fast and understand what was going on quickly, that was good. Now, when I say understand what was going on, I mean more the familiarity with the world. understanding who the characters were and what the scenario was, the setting, the world, the environment, and all that stuff. When it came to what the actual problem was, I couldn't figure that out. I don't know what the heck was going on until probably closer to having only 100 pages to go. It almost felt like everything that was happening and everything that was being done did not have a purpose. And obviously I get that the purpose of the big, the big situation was supposed to be revealed at the end, but there was just something about the writing that it truly felt like nothing had a point. It felt like we're going through this story just to go through this story. I do hope that they bring back Malcolm and that they do save whatever Tristan's father's name is. Because once they take Tristan's father, I don't think we see him again. Like, we don't find out anything about him anymore. And Malcolm stops appearing like halfway through the book. Like, they have that altercation and a couple things happen with him and whatnot, and then he vanishes. So I'm hoping that he does make a comeback in the other book, the next book, that is Apprentice to a Villain. And I hope it's not like an actual plot hole. I hope it's that it's part of a bigger story. Now, Tristan getting kidnapped, that's a whole other monster, because I did not expect that to happen. I do like the fact that there's a power dynamic shift and Evie gets to be the badass. The stakes of the world end up in her hands. I'm glad that now he's the one that needs saving, and we see her grow from this sort of damsel in distress into this very powerful person. I am also hoping that either she ends up inheriting some magic from her mother, and I do hope we do get to see her mom appear and figure out what happened with her, and that I'm pretty sure that her mom did not actually abandon her and her sister. I'm pretty sure that what ended up happening was that her dad was the one that kicked her out and kept her away, because we never found out what the letters said. We don't know what the letters that Evie found in her dad's office said. So we're about to find out what happens with that. Hopefully, I'm really, really hoping that we do find out what happened in book 2. That means that I am probably going to start reading Apprentice to the Villain quickly. Hopefully, when I get it. And I'm just gonna have to start it so that I don't do what I did with a bunch of other books that I had pre-ordered, and I was like so excited to read because I finished whatever that book before them was, and then I never got into actually reading them. So I do need to start those, and I might just start a whole bunch of books, honestly. I feel like I'm just gonna start all of them and see which one, in which order they catch me. Point is that there were a lot of stuff that did not get an answer, but I'm hoping that that was on purpose, and that was, for us to figure out in the next book. Now, speculations for the next book. Now we see with that last page of the book that Rebecca and Evie, that were frenemies or whatever, are now gonna work together, and that is going to be badass. I love that we're getting a women empowerment moment. I love that we're getting a female dynamic duo situation happening, and that they are going to work together to get Tristan back. That is badass. Like, that completely shifted how I was thinking about this book. I don't know yet if I'm going to give it a 5 stars. I may do it. I don't know. I feel like because of how flat it was in the beginning, I shouldn't give it a 5 stars, but it did earn the 4 stars for me. So it might just end up being a 4 stars. But I do feel now excited about the second one, because with how the book was going, when I reached halfway through the book, I started questioning why I had pre-ordered the second one. And I was this close to canceling my order because I felt like if I didn't end up liking it, why would I want to have the second one? But I'm glad I held off on that, and I actually kept my pre-order. I'm getting the book because I need to know how they're going to save Tristan. What I do hope is that this doesn't turn into a trilogy. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked up anything about this book and this author, so I don't know what the plans are for this world. But I'm really hoping that it doesn't turn in one of those trilogies where the middle book is just boring as heck and doesn't really add anything to the story, and it just feels like you could have just shoved it away. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, because if I read book 2 with the excitement that I finished book 1, that's gonna mean that if there's more books in the series, I'm going to be dying to read the next one. And having to wait is gonna be terrible, especially if it doesn't end or it doesn't hit as good as the ending of this one did. And I might just end up dropping the series. And I've done this before. Like, one of the series that I had to DNF was the Serpent and Dove series, because the first book was great, the middle book was terrible, and then the third book I just DNF'd it. Like, I tried giving it an opportunity and I was just bored out of my mind. I felt like nothing made sense, so I ended up DNFing that. So I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with this series. I am excited about it, and I'm really hoping that it still has that element of the humor that we saw in this one. And I also need, oh my gosh, I also need for the slow burn to not be slow anymore. I am not particularly someone that loves or enjoys slow burn romances. I don't like insta lovey either, but I would rather it be more insta lovey rather than slow burn. And this was so slow without the tension that I wished it had. Like, I felt like I was getting bits and pieces here and there of the romance that partially were responsible for keeping me reading, but it was such little amounts that I felt like I needed more. And when we finally get it, Tristan gets freaking kidnapped, which it's good, because I wouldn't be this excited to read the next book if that hadn't happened, right? But I do hope that the next book works faster. I hope to see more action and more romance rather than such a slow thing. Like, I really hope that the next book doesn't end up with them freaking just confused and not knowing how to rescue him. I hope that they have a plan. I hope that even if things start, to make things more difficult for them to rescue him, I do hope that it doesn't take the entire book. I hope that maybe halfway through the book, and then everything else pretty much solves everything. Because, like I said, we have the thing about the mom. We still have to figure out what the deal is with Malcolm, if he is even relevant to the story. We have to rescue Tristan's dad still. We have to see if they're really going to kill Evie's dad, because they took him away, so what's going to happen with him? And then we have to see what the love situation is going to be between them. And we also have to see what the love situation is between Tatiana and Claire, I think, was the love interest. So we have to see those situations. I don't remember if it was Claire or if Tristan has another sister, which was the one with the relationship with Tatiana. Anyway, point is that there's a lot of stuff happening. And also, I do want to see Rebecca and whatever his name, Blade or something. I need to see that romance also build up. So I'm hoping that he's going to be part of the saving group and they turn into a dynamic trio or whatever. Well, I guess they're going to be a whole group, because I know Tatiana is going to be involved as well, unless they leave Tatiana babysitting Liza, which that could also happen in Ben, and then maybe throw her to the side. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts right now on how this can go, and I'm probably going to continue thinking about this and analyzing and coming up with theories of what's gonna happen. So point is that I'm going to have to wait for the next book to find out. But I'm excited. I'm glad this book took a turn for the good, and a lot of stuff started happening, and now we will most likely have a very promising story. I hope that this was just world building and escalating the situation, and that after that we get fast paced, because I need more fast paced stuff. I need, you know, I need these people to get into the action. Also, I do need more of Kingsley, because you cannot tell me he's not one of the cutest characters in a book. Kingsley is forever going to be my favorite book, and I really hope that this doesn't turn into one of those the author kills the cutest character, because I am going to lose my mind. Like, they cannot hurt Kingsley. They need to leave him as a side character and let him be. If he ends up turning back into a human, hooray. But do not unalive him, please. Because I know there was a portion of the last few scenes before Tristan gets kidnapped that he's saying something about Kingsley being very brave and kind or whatever. So if he had been, basically it sounded like Tristan felt like if Kingsley were still a prince and he were still human, Evie would have fell for him and not for Tristan. And so that would be very funny if they did turn him back into a prince, because I know for sure that Evie would still love Tristan. I am so sure that she would not go for Kingsley as a human. So that would be very cute to watch as well. But anyway, those are my thoughts after finishing the book. Those are my speculations for the next one, my hopes, I guess, for the next book, and I will definitely be reading the next one. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.